Hi guys, welcome back to Reading the Bible in a Year. Today is February 18th. And picking up where we left off yesterday, we read where Moses was giving basically a second speech of sorts, where he provided the Israelites with sets of rules and regulations and decrees that they will need to follow and pass on from generation to generation in order for them to continually be successful in the new land that they're going to be taking over. So at this point in his second address, Moses begins an exposition of principal laws, some of which he gives here for the first time, or at least they're recorded here for the first time, and some of which he has already given but now further explains or re-emphasizes. Although these laws are traditionally known as the laws of Moses, it is of course God who is their source, obviously. However, because there will be other laws of Israel as the nation becomes more fully developed, it is appropriate to distinguish these early commandments by referring to them as Moses' laws. Most of the laws are set forth in the form of statutes. Others are in the nature of case decisions or ethical duties. Some of the laws are given to meet only temporary or immediate needs, while others are intended to last for centuries. The laws are to be read to the people at regular times throughout each year in order that each person can learn them and have no excuse for not obeying them. The explicit purpose for each law is rarely given. However, most of the laws are ultimately designed to teach the Israelites to respect and honor God, to make them holy and aware of their separateness as a special chosen people, and to learn respect for the rights of their neighbors. Laws regulating personal injury or even diet are no less significant than those regulating offerings and sacrifices, for all laws are essentially religious laws. All are given by a personal God and lawgiver to whom the people have sworn allegiance and promised obedience. The laws of Israel may sometimes appear to be cruel or unnecessarily harsh, particularly the penalties which accompany given offenses. Yet, what may appear to be cruel and unusual in modern times must be viewed in the context of the life and times in which the Israelites are living. Death and suffering are very much a reality of all people of this time, and in the surrounding nations, wicked kings practice unspeakable cruelties in ruling their people. Thus, the laws given to Moses are designed to lift the national consciousness and impose a high level of ethical conduct. Even the death penalty is an elevated concept in teaching the value of human life, and the procedural safeguards which are imposed ensure a measure of unparalleled fairness. In fact, the concepts of due process and equal justice found within the legal system will be incorporated even centuries later into enlightened systems of modern law. The organization of the laws, as presented in this section, is purely subjective and therefore should not be taken as an authoritative structuring. Because of the fact that in theocratic legal system, all laws are basically religious in nature, and categorization necessarily involves a certain amount of overlapping coverage. For example, laws pertaining to health and quarantine overlap with purification rites, which properly belong with other rules of religious ceremony. Therefore, as often as possible, such overlapping will be indicated going forward. So we're going to be reading snippets here and there for today's reading. We're going to start off at Deuteronomy 5, verse 5. And today's a short reading, I should tell you. We're going to read through to Deuteronomy, let's see here, 17, verse 28 is where we're going to leave off today. So, at the cornerstone of all the laws is the first commandment, as I'm sure most of you are aware. And here it is. And he said, this is Deuteronomy 5, verse 5, I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. You shall have no other gods before me. The second commandment ensures allegiance to the one true and living God. You shall not make for yourself an image in the form of anything in heaven above, or on earth beneath, or in the waters below. You shall not bow down to them or worship them. For I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, punishing the children for the sin of the parents to the third and fourth generation of those who hate me, but showing love to 1,000 generations of those who love me and keep my commandments. Whoever sacrifices to any god other than the Lord must be destroyed. Be careful to do everything I have told to you. Do not invoke the names of other gods. Do not let them be heard on your lips. Do not turn to idols or make metal gods for yourselves. I am the Lord your God. Do not make idols or set up an image or a sacred stone for yourselves. Do not place a carved stone in your land to bow down before it. I am the Lord your God. Do not set up any wooden Asherah pole beside the altar you built to the Lord your God, and do not erect a sacred stone, for these the Lord your God hates. The Lord said to Moses, say to the Israelites, any Israelite or any foreigner residing in Israel who sacrifices any of his children to Molech is to be put to death. The members of the community are to stone him. I myself will set my face against him and will cut him off from his people. For by sacrificing his children to Molech, he has defiled my sanctuary and profaned my holy name. If the members of the community close their eyes when that man sacrifices one of his children to Molech, and if they fail to put him to death, I myself will set my face against him and his family and will cut them off from their people, together with all who follow him in prostituting themselves to Molech. You are the children of the Lord your God. Do not cut yourselves or shave the front of your heads for the dead, for you are a people holy to the Lord your God. Out of all the peoples of the face of the earth, the Lord has chosen you to be his treasured possession. Do not cut the hair at the sides of your head, or clip off the edges of your beard. Do not cut your bodies for the dead, or put tattoo marks on yourselves. I am the Lord. The Lord your God will cut off before you the nations you are about to invade and dispossess. But when you have driven them out and settled in their land, and after they have been destroyed before you, be careful not to be ensnared by inquiring about their gods, saying, how do these nations serve their gods? We will do the same. You must not worship the Lord your God in their way, because in worshiping their gods, they do all kinds of detestable things the Lord hates. They even burn their sons and daughters in the fire as sacrifices to their gods. If your very own brother or your son or daughter or the wife you love or your closest friend secretly entices you, saying, let us go and worship other gods, do not yield to them or listen to them. Show them no pity. Do not spare them or shield them. You must certainly put them to death. Your hand must be the first in putting them to death, and then the hands of all the people. Stone them to death because they tried to turn you away from the Lord your God, who brought you out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. Then all Israel will hear and be afraid, and no one among you will do such an evil thing again. If you hear it said about one of the towns the Lord your God is giving you to live in, that troublemakers have arisen among you and have led the people of their town astray, saying, "Let us go and worship other gods," gods you have not known, then you must inquire, probe, and investigate it thoroughly. And if it is true, and it has been proved that this detestable thing has been done among you, you must certainly put the sword to all who live in that town. You must destroy it completely, both its people and its livestock. You are to gather all the plunder of the town in the middle of the public square and completely burn the town and all its plunder as a whole burnt offering to the Lord your God. That town is to remain a ruin forever, never to be rebuilt, and none of the condemned things are to be found in your hands. Then the Lord will turn from his fierce anger, will show you mercy, and will have compassion on you. You will increase your numbers as he promised an oath to your ancestors. Because you obey the Lord your God by keeping all his commands that I am giving you today and doing what is right in his eyes. If a man or woman living among you in one of the towns the Lord gives you is found doing evil in the eyes of the Lord your God, in violation of his covenant, and contrary to my command, has worshipped other gods, bowing down to them, or to the sun, or the moon, or the stars in the sky, and this has been brought to your attention, then you must investigate it thoroughly. If it is true, and it has been proved that this detestable thing has been done in Israel, take the man or woman who has done this evil deed to your city gate and stone the person to death. On the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses, a person is to be put to death, but no one is to be put to death on the testimony of only 1 witness. The hands of the witness must be the first in putting the person to death, and then the hands of all the people. You must purge the evil from among you. These are the decrees and laws you must be careful to follow in the land that the Lord, the God of your ancestors, has given to you to possess. As long as you live in the land, destroy completely all the places on the high mountains, on the hills, and under spreading tree, where the nations you are disposing worship their gods. Break down their altars, smash their sacred stones, and burn their Asherah poles in the fire. Cut down the idols of their gods and wipe out their names from those places. You must not worship the Lord your God in their way, but you are to seek the place the Lord your God will choose from among all your tribes to put his name there for his dwelling. To that place you must go. There, bring your burnt offerings and sacrifices, your tithes and special gifts, what you have vowed to give, and your freewill offerings, and the firstborn of your herds and flocks. There, in the presence of the Lord your God, you and your families shall eat and shall rejoice in everything you have put your hand to, because the Lord your God has blessed you. You are not to do as we do here today, everyone doing as they see fit, since you have not yet reached the resting place and the inheritance the Lord your God is giving you. But you will cross the Jordan and settle in the land the Lord your God is giving you as an inheritance, and he will give you the rest from all of your enemies around you, so that you will live in safety. Then to the place the Lord your God will choose as a dwelling for his name. There you are to bring everything I command you, your burnt offerings and sacrifices, your tithes and special gifts, and all the choice possessions you have vowed to the Lord. And there rejoice before the Lord your God. You, your sons and daughters, your male and female servants, and the Levites from your towns who have no allotment or inheritance of their own. Be careful not to sacrifice your burnt offerings anywhere you please. Offer them only at the place the Lord will choose in one of your tribes, and there observe everything I command you. Nevertheless, you may slaughter your animals in any of your towns and eat as much of the meat as you want, as if it were gazelle or deer, according to the blessing the Lord your God gives you. Both the ceremonially unclean and clean may eat it. You must not eat in your own towns the tithe of your grain and new wine and olive oil, or the firstborn of your herds and flocks, or whatever you have vowed to give, or your free will offerings or special gifts. Instead, you are to eat them in the presence of the Lord your God at the place the Lord your God will choose. You, your sons and daughters, your male and female servants, and the Levites from your towns. And you are to rejoice before the Lord your God in everything you put your hand to. Be careful not to neglect the Levites as long as you live in your land. When the Lord your God has enlarged your territory as he promised you, and you crave meat and say, I would like some meat, then you may eat as much of it as you want. If the place where the Lord your God chooses to put his name is too far away from you, you may slaughter animals from the herds and flocks the Lord has given you. As I have commanded you, and in your own towns, you may eat as much of them as you want. Eat them as you would gazelle or deer. Both the ceremonially unclean and the clean may eat. But take your consecrated things and whatever you have vowed to give, and go to the place the Lord will choose. Present your burnt offerings on the altar of the Lord your God, both the meat and the blood. The blood of your sacrifices must be poured beside the altar of the Lord your God, but you may eat the meat. Be careful to obey all these regulations I am giving you, so that it may always go well with you and your children after you, because you will be doing what is good and right in the eyes of the Lord your God. And that ends our reading for today. Still going over the rules that they will need to abide by once they have taken over the promised land. So thank you again for joining me today. I look forward to being back here tomorrow when we continue reading about the rules. We've got quite a few readings to do in regards to that. Tomorrow we're going to be reading about the laws against false spiritualists. So I hope that you will join me then. Stay blessed. Bye.